Hi, everyone. It's really nice to be here this morning. So thank you for having us. So I'm Lucy Almond, and I chair the Nature for Climate Coalition. For those of you who don't know, Nature for Climate is a coalition of 28 of the large environmental organizations, many of whom are in the room, and we're housed in the Nature Conservancy. And why we're up here talking about tech, nature tech. I have a bit of a confession to make. I don't think it's a sensible idea to make a confession on a stage in front of hundreds of people, but I'm going to do it. So Mark Wishney said earlier that one of the things is we need to mobilize billions of dollars into natural climate solutions. And when Nature for Climate first started to talk to the financial institutions and the finance sector to mobilize capital, we realized that actually they were getting very excited about this emerging sector, nature tech. And so we felt like we need to understand what the nature tech sector is, help define that sector, and hence we've been doing that work. And then I'll introduce my colleague Gilad, because we've got to know each other pretty well in the last 18 months.
Hey everyone, good morning. My name is Gilad Goren, and I'm the Executive Director of the Nature Tech Collective. We're a tiny but mighty nonprofit organization and community whose job is really to accelerate the adoption of nature tech solutions, which we think is the great unlock to closing the nature finance gap. Rather than bore you with all the details of what we do, quick show of hands, who here is a member of the Nature Tech Collective? Ask those folks. They know better than me. So we've had the great pleasure of working with Lucy and Nature for Climate for 18 months now. 12 months ago on stage, thank you, Theresa and Alex, we actually debuted the 2023 edition of the Nature Tech Report. And it was really about defining what is nature tech. It wasn't really a known quantity. So years passed. Lucy, what's been going on?
So I think firstly in the last year, we picked up some amazing new partners on the way. So the report that we issued yesterday was done with KPMG, the Climate Collective, the Nature Tech Collective, and also the VC firm Serena, who helped track the numbers of investment going into this sector. But I think mainly what we've learned is the sector's maturing at a rapid pace, and it's now ready to help accelerate the nature positive transition. And this is evidenced by earlier this week, we also released a database of nature tech companies. So there's more than 1,000 companies now in this sector. And you know you're working in the right sector when yesterday 2 reports on nature tech were released at exactly the same time. So alongside ours, there was another report from Salesforce, ERM, and Nature Metrics. So I think we can say it's pretty much ready to go as a sector. And so then, Gilad, it's my turn in this really natural chat show format to ask you a question. So you live and breathe nature tech every day. What are your reflections of the last year?
So there's this kind of framework, a mental framework of like, it's called why, what, how, okay? Or another way to look at it, it's awareness to education towards action. And I think over the past year, what we've seen and what the report will show is that we're past the awareness stage. So now we're at this area where we could either fall down to the education gap and just keep learning, and just not act on it, or we could start to get up towards the action. And we're at this stage right now, and it's the trough of education, as we call it. I think we're here at a position, and this report will show the taxonomy that's in it that gives you literally the solutions for the challenges, that nature tech is here. Nature tech is ready to be in service of your individual specific nature tech or nature challenges. So it's really about action, and we're really stoked that this report's out to show it. And with that note, just so you trust me, you don't think I'm just like blowing smoke, we have 2 amazing case studies, live case studies from the over 30 case studies we have in our report. Who do we have?
So first of all, we're going to be delighted to welcome up on stage. These are nature tech double acts, basically. So we're going to hear from Axelle and Landlife, and then Pivotal and OG. So first of all, we're welcoming him to the stage, Axelle and Landlife.
Good morning, Bloom. My name is Axelle Ducos, and I work for Landlife, a nature restoration company.
Hello, everyone. Marika Rueter from Axelle. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, and let me take you for a few minutes only away from beautiful, mega diverse Colombia to take you to another beautiful, mega diverse country, And hopefully the slides will work with me. Indonesia. More precisely, let me take you to Runang in the island of Borneo with its unique heath forest ecosystem, which is also the home of the iconic species, the orangutan. Now, that ecosystem has been under tremendous pressure for decades due to overlogging, primarily for timber, so selective logging, which creates wildfires. The ecosystem is severely degraded, so much so that the land will not, within our lifetime and on its own, regenerate to the healthy ecosystem that it once was. And this is where we intervene with the support of Axelle to bring together a high-integrity reforestation project. High integrity means using diverse, native-only tree species as part of the planting. And this can only be done in collaboration with the local community, the Dayak, who work very closely with us. And here you see some of the nurseries that we co-created together and that the community manages. Now, what's exciting about this reforestation project is that in it, we are really pioneering biodiversity baselining for both on the degraded land, but also on a benchmark forest, similar forest that is close by, so that we really have a good sense of where we are, what is the gap between the degraded land and what a healthy ecosystem it should be. Now, to do that, we use a number of new advanced tech. We're using bioacoustics, we're using satellite imagery, and we are using remote sensing. These technologies hold great promise because they can scale. And that is fantastic because, of course, we want to have impact at scale. But before you can really scale up and use this technology on a very large landscape, you need first to adapt them to that ecosystem. You need to enrich them with the local knowledge, and you need to ground truth them. And this is exactly what we're doing in this project. So to use the example of bioacoustics in terms of adapting it, bioacoustics, for those of you who may not be familiar, you basically put recorders on trees, you leave them for a couple of weeks, you record everything, and then the algorithm will pick out all of the animal noises and assign them, identify them to right species. Now, of course, when we start from a degraded land, there are no trees. So the first adaptation that we had to make was to create, with our bioacoustics partner, to create basically a spike protocol so that we could truly compare the data from the degraded land to the benchmark forest. The second thing is that while the technology is good, it's not yet perfect. And it is not able yet to capture or recognize all of the animal noise, nor to assign them to the right species. And this is where we work again with the local community, local experts, and also local academics to bring that knowledge and to help to train the tool so that it can be deployed later. And in terms of the ground truthing, we use all the well-established, maybe lower tech, but proven methods like field surveys. And what's exciting is that when you bring all of these technologies together, we get to a very robust set of biodiversity indicators that capture the key biodiversity dimensions relevant for this ecosystem. Which means that when we come back in 2 years to measure, we can have confidence in the data that we're seeing, and we can truly evaluate the impact of the high integrity reforestation on biodiversity. We think this is key. We think this will help to bring confidence and unlock more capital going into nature restoration. Now, we know that a lot of companies are more and more understanding their reliance on nature and are investing in their value chain, which is fantastic. But I think the case we're trying to make here as well is that it is important to also restore beyond the value chain, right? And that value chain, really nature for nature mitigation is important because it drives ecosystem resilience and it basically helps protect the asset that you have in your value chain by lowering the risk. Now, of course, in doing all of that, also protecting the habitat and recovering habitat of the orangutan. Up to you, Marika.
Thank you, Axelle. So yes, nature and biodiversity is definitely a key focus of ours at Axelle. And as Axelle has just highlighted, we're expanding the work now on a topic that both Land Life and Axelle whole deer, ecosystem protection, and restoration. I'm not going to give you details about what Axelle does. I'd like to highlight, however, that beyond investing and also factoring nature in our underwriting activities, we believe that it's essential to look at the full range of opportunities to actually make a difference on this topic. And actually, this is what we're doing with land life. So I could go on about the ways in which this actually fits into our strategy, but I'll just give you a few. So I'd say that this partnership is interesting for us because it's supporting the development of the needed expertise and technology, as Axelle has highlighted, and also recognizing that we can't do it alone. So we need to partner up, and we have a range of partners just on this one initiative. I would say also that in terms of impact, we're looking at ecosystems as a whole, and so we're not just focusing on planting trees. We're also looking at restoring the land before planting, and that I think that's not exactly what most people do. So I wanted to highlight that. And then maybe last point, I've actually been to Borneo. So in the Indonesian, not in the Indonesian part, but the Malaysian part. And what's interesting is I did learn why deforestation is taking place. And it's very simple. You have people on the ground who are just looking for a means to have a revenue and to subsist. And so that's why the community engagement of this initiative is very important as well, because it's a means to sustain what is effectively going on the ground and to actually serve what we consider to be a shared future. So I invite you very much to reach out to Axelle in particular to learn more, and thank you very much for being here.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Yuya Toyoshima from Oji Holdings.
And I'm Cameron Frayling from Pivotal.
So from here, we will talk about our partnership between Oji and Pivotal. So let me start with Oji's journey. We are a Japanese company engaged in pulp, paper, and packaging. And we are 150 years old company. And actually, our story begins with this picture. This mill is our first paper mill built in Tokyo 150 years ago. And at that time, raw material was just viscoses. So sustainability and circularity has always been our key word since the beginning. And since then, we have been expanding our business to wood-based pulp and paper. And in 1937, we built a forestry company to secure wood material. And since then, we have been expanding our forests, and we have currently 400,000 hectares in the world. And also, we expanded our business to paper-based packaging side, whose recycle rate is really high. So we are 150 years old. So what challenge will we take from now? We are aiming to achieve both carbon neutral and nature positive in the era of natural capital accounting. We can see growing discussion globally how to evaluate, quantify the natural capital to connect to economic value. So we decided to start forest value visualization project in Sarufutsu area in Hokkaido, Japan. You can see the picture here. This is beautiful landscape, including forests, marshland, and a pond and a river close to the sea. The forest is a boreal forest, actually southern limit of the boreal forest. And also the soil is peatland, holding huge amount of carbon. And also marsh is said to provide nutrients such as iron, which is particularly important to the fishery industry in the coast. So we decided to start the pilot project here and the biodiversity side, as you can imagine. we made partnership with Pivotal and jumped in the Salfus forest.
And just test this out. So when we first began discussions with OG, it's like this sound as well. The task was, how can we create a way of tracking change over time of nature and biodiversity? Yes, on the Sarafutsu site, but potentially expanding to their entire supply chain. And if you imagine a company as large as OG, 650,000 hectares of forest all throughout Southeast Asia, but also in South America, you need a way of doing this which is going to be scalable, which is going to be affordable. It has to have very high integrity, and it also has to be auditable. And how do you do all these things in a way that you could do it year after year, where the results are going to be meaningful, where the ability to actually track change over time has been thought through ahead, well in advance, in the way that you actually stratify the data collection. So what we first did was we took satellite data, and then we did a habitat categorization map. So what are the habitats? And then we checked that with OG, who of course have been there on site for a very long time. And then with that, you know the basic structure of the habitats there, and then you can create a random stratified sampling plan. And then with that, you know where you might actually place the sensors on the ground, different sensors for different places. This is something you could do anywhere in the world. Then what you need is to go on site and actually collect. So we've built a field app that allows not just Pivotal, but anyone. So for example, OG staff to go on ground and collect data in the right place at the right time for the right amount of time, and to evidence that it was done. And then at the end, when you collected all this data, it's a lot of data, firstly, you're going to need data pipelines. You're going to need to use machine learning, but you also need a lot of human experts that can help quality control the results, help identify species from photographs and from audio, in order to actually build the machine learning models that help you process this volume of data. And so the very first thing we do actually is find people who can identify species groups. So the birds, the bats, the frogs, the plants, all of these things that we are collecting data on. And you need to find them. You then need to test them. About 70% of the people that we test actually fail, even if they have a PhD in the subject. Maybe they're not good at identifying frogs from audio. But some are superhuman. We now have a network of about 250 people from all around the world who are expert in different regions, and they can help us. So once they pass these tests, we then contract them and we pay them for annotations. And that means that we can go anywhere in the world from scratch and start producing very, very high quality data. And the cost of acquiring that data decreases over time. Higher quality, more accuracy, reduced cost. So anyway, so we've now done all of this, and actually we've now processed all the data with OG, and the very first results are in. We have, I think it's a very rich set of data that includes birds and bats and frogs and trees and plants. We found lots of bears. We found a very, very threatened species, the red-crowned crane, iconic species for Japan. It's actually on the 1,000 yen bill.
Yeah.
We also found some invasive species. So there's lots of things that you can take from this, and the results are in a format which Oji, who has a vast network of partners who they supply for packaging all around the world, brands that you have guaranteed heard of, could look at these results and understand the actual impact of some of the forestry on these sites. And in the end, not only do you get this very rich set of data that you can share with local communities, share with your partners, but you can also move towards evidencing nature positive. So you, of course, have habitat classification maps. You have species distribution maps. For every single species that we found, you can look at where they were actually located and have evidence behind every single bit of it, because it's all digital data collection and it's all being quality controlled. It's all in a database. You can calculate from that primary data any number of different metrics. There are thousands of metrics that you can calculate. Some are ridiculous, but some make a lot of sense, and you could produce the results from any one of those. And then ultimately, you have a set of data, auditable, shareable, foldable, scalable, that you could roll out across an entire supply chain. And I guess something that you should really take away from this is that even at supply chain scale, this is now possible. And Oji has been amazing in actually piloting this in Sarafutsu, beautiful place. And, now it's something they can share with the world.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, no more banter. Really quick. Gratitude. Thank you to Teresa and to Alex, of course. Next slide. QR code. Is that gonna work?
Sorry, there it's not that.
All right. Well, we're just gonna keep going. We have an amazing report that was debuted yesterday. 30 case studies, including pivotals, emojis, and many more. Full-on solutions taxonomy framework. So any company or any financial firm, any NGO could go, I need to solve for challenge X in using tools Y in geography Z, and you'll get your framework that explains who does what. So here's our Oprah Winfrey moment. Everyone gets a report. Just pull out your phone. You get a report. You get a report. You all get reports. Thank you to Jen Stebbing, to Melissa Generali who wrote this. Thank you so much to my amazing team as well, to Lucy and the Nature for Climate team. As we said, Serena, Climate Collective, KPMG, who did amazing work, and so many people here who helped us make this report happen. And of course, thank you to Trellis Network. You guys are amazing. Cheers.